they were also moving. But the thing is, the city of Pherae over here, they have not gone in with the rest of the league. They are actually allied with the Phocians. So they are fighting against the Amphictyonic League, and it is the city of Larissa that appeals to Philip to help them defeat Pherae. This is the way Philip gets his justification to come into the conflict in southern Greece. Now, the Phocians do respond to Pherae's um, request for aid, and Oneiromarchos dispatches his brother and 7,000 men. However, Philip does beat this force back. And then this causes Oneiromarchos himself to come up north with the rest of his army, abandoning some sieges in the central Greek regions. And he gets his entire force to attack Thessaly. And now it's possible both probably had the same goals, right? Both wanted to probably capture Thessaly itself. And it is said that Oneiromarchus got about 21,000 men, including about 500 to 1,000 cavalry, and a large number of catapults. And this actually outnumbered Philip's army. And the exact details, unfortunately, are lost to us about how this campaign panned out. But it seems that there were two defeats, pretty large defeats inflicted on Philip, with many of his men dead. And when winter came in, he did retreat. And what Philip did said to have said, he did not run away, but like a ram, I pulled back to butt again harder. If you get a beating and you can survive, better make sure you learn from it. Now, Philip returns in the summer of 353 or 352 BC. We are not sure of the exact year because records kind of just vary by this 1 year. And he gets a new army. And he requests the Thessalian League to join him. Now, they are kind of underwhelmed by what Philip did last year, right? If you got your ass whooped twice, why should we join you? But they don't have a choice because it's either Philip or the Phocians taking over. And then now Philip and mustered all the Thessalian opponents of Pherae, and he has an army of about 23 to 25,000 men. And it is at this decisive battle, as we see here, the battle at the field of Crocus, where Philip inflicts a crushing victory for himself and devastating defeat against the Phocians. And this is in spite of Athens now also joining in and dispatching aid and allies to the Phocian forces here. And in the battle, it is sent, Philip loses maybe 1,500 men, but inflicts about 9,000 casualties, with 6,000 of them being killed, including and 3,000 prisoners, which included Oneiromarchus himself, who was later hanged or crucified. And the other prisoners, well, they weren't ransomed, they were drowned.
God damn.
Yep. Because the ritual was that these guys are temple robbers, right? So they are following the Hellenistic religious codes of the Amphictyonic League, which, let's be honest, they would be expecting severe retribution if they failed.
I mean,
That's kind of why
there is another
yeah,
element to it, though, because Philip II is obsessed with trying to present himself as being amongst the
the champion.
civilized Greeks, and he wants the Greeks to accept the Macedonians as kind of the same group of people because he envisions if he conquers any territory in Greece that these people won't, respect his authority if they think he's a northern barbarian, which they think he is. So he kind of goes overboard with the getting the Greek art, getting all the music, everything. He brings all this stuff. He has these
He
banquets,
takes it to the next level from his predecessors.
He kind of like overdoes being Greek in a way. So yeah.
True enough. And it is after this battle, he's now made the Archon of the Thessalian League, which is huge given the fact that the Thessalian cavalry will play a massive role for his son's campaigns in the future. Now, he kind of settles the affairs here, but is not really getting too much involved in the rest of the war. But, he then starts to move down. And as he's approaching the Thermopylae Pass, the Athenians kind of panic because if he takes the pass at Thermopylae, he's opened the gateway into southern Greece. And so what the Athenians do is they dispatch an embassy to Philip, which includes Philocrates, Demosthenes, and Aeneas to Philip to discuss peace between them. Now, this embassy will have two audiences with Philip, and in which each side presented the proposals for the terms of a peace settlement. And then the embassy returned to Athens to present the terms proposed to the Athenian assembly, along with the Macedonian embassy empowered by Philip to finalize the agreement. On 23rd April, it is said that they would be swearing the peace. Now, after agreeing to these terms, the Athenians now dispatched a second embassy to extract the same oaths of peace from Philip and his court. So they will be going up to Pella to, do this. Now, what these guys go at a pretty relaxed pace because they think Philip is campaigning around here in Thrace. So, they can go. But when they arrive, which includes Demosthenes and Aeneas again, they are kind of surprised that you have all the third sacred war combatants cities, all the major players have their embassies over here. So, like it's a big delegation and diplomatic event that's going to go happen in the court of Pella. And now when Philip returns, he receives all the embassies together. Now the Thebans and Thessalians request that Philip officially take leadership of the Amphitryon League. Now this is going to be a big boost, right, if he gets this, because he's now being asked to take the leadership of a pan-Hellenic religious organization. And, to punish forces hard. Whereas conversely, forces and who are supported by the Spartans and Athenians plead for mercy and not to attack forces. Now Philip is now showing his diplomatic arm here. He delays making any decisions as he sought by every means not to reveal how he intended to settle things. Both sides were privately encouraged to hope that he would do as they wanted, but both were bidden not to prepare for a war. A peacefully arranged concordat was at hand. And he delays taking the oaths to the peace of Philocrates, which is going to be that peace treaty that was sworn in by the Athenian assembly. And, you know, uh, it's going to look, there's going to be a nice reversal. Now, the ambassadors are also noticing at Pella, there are military preparations, right? The soldiers are equipping themselves, there's drills, supplies are being gathered. Now, what Philip does tell the ambassadors, they were campaign against the city of Halys, which is a small city in the Thessalian League, which has still not submitted to his authority. And then he departs for Halys, before making any pronouncements, and thus compels the uh, Athenian embassies to kind of go with him because they need to, take that oath in person from him. It is only at Pherae he does take the oaths as requested. But it is in the aftermath where Philip puts the coup de grace. But while he convinced them that he's going for a Thessalian city, he's actually going for the Thermopylae Pass right here. He never had any intention of that Thessalian city.
Of course.
And so when he swore the oaths to these ambassadors, his forward units and vanguard were already pretty close to the pass itself. And by the time the Athenian ambassadors arrive home in July, Philip is already in possession of the pass. By delaying the oaths and making what seemed like an effective feint against Halys, and he prevents the Athenians from garrisoning the Thermopylae Pass themselves, which will ensure that he has an open route to Greece. Now all of Greece is at his mercy. No one is strong enough individually to take him. And they can't even save forces, even if they abandon the peace. And the Athenian assembly kind of just shows how dumb they are. they reject the peace and try to declare war. And it is not until the 12th of July where, Philip's armies come even closer do they finally realize that, you know, guys, we can't fight Philip. Let's just reaffirm the peace of Philocrates. It's not a popular peace, but it ends. And one of the biggest things is he gets the city of Amphipolis around this time, which has been in his possession for a few years, but it's now on a treaty. Now that he was in control, Philip is able to dictate the spoils of the sacred war. So he makes, the truces with Philakios, who surrenders focus to him, and Philip allows that man and his mercenaries to go wherever he wished. And for ending the war, Macedon was made the member of the League officially and given two votes, which had been stripped from the city of Phocis itself. Now, as you said, Greg, the Macedonian kings, especially Philip, did everything they could do to be seen as civilized Greeks and not northern barbarians.